This podcast was created on Messy. Create your own show today at messy.fm.
Behind closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
It's another rainy Tuesday. I don't know why I said another. It hasn't rained in like 2 months, I think. But that's all right. We're in a drought here in Georgia. We're also in a drought as far as NFL football. The Atlanta Falcons, once again, dropped another one to Arizona Cardinals. I would say it stung a little bit if we were having a decent year, but honestly, at this point, just blow the season wide open. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you can only afford to lose. The way the NFC's going, you could probably only afford to lose one more game, maybe two, and we got 10 left. You know, so I mean, you're not making the playoffs, and don't do what you did last year and win 4 in a row and then cost yourself, 10 spots in the draft. We could have gotten a lot better guys than what we did. So, Ro, you can go ahead and talk about this one. It gets kind of boring to talk about week in and week out and frustrating about why we have to talk about this. But with all the talent we have too is the worst part. But go ahead, tell me what you got.
Well, I watched the game, and like we've been talking about for the last few weeks, Quinn has to go. I'm calling for the firing or either resignation of Dan Quinn. He cannot do both. He cannot run the defense and also be head coach at the same time. I've been saying this for probably the last, 3 weeks now?
Yeah.
I'm not hating on Dan Quinn because I was one of the biggest fans for him coming here as head coaches. So I thought he was going to do a lot better job. He got us to the Super Bowl. I thought we was going to win the Super Bowl. Then after that, it's been going downhill ever since then. And, a lot of people talk about, well, the injuries. Yeah, injuries is part of the game. So you got to be able to handle as a head coach, be able to handle diversity. Don't you learn that when you play team ball?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look.
Make adjustments.
The reason you carry 53 guys on a team is because injuries are going to happen, and I you can't keep blaming injuries as being the reason that your season completely falls down the toilet. It's something that you've got to live with. Okay, you're playing a collision sport. Okay, you're running into each other at full speed. People are going to get hurt, and you have to have backup. You have to have depth on the bench. It's the same thing with any other sport. The injuries aren't as big in the other sports, but you still have to have other guys. Other guys need rest. You know what I'm saying? And on defensive side of the ball, you have different packages, different things that you want to go out there with, and so you've got to have other guys that can step up and make plays. And when somebody like Keanu Neal gets hurt, for the second time, you got to have somebody to replace him. You'd have thought that they figured that out last year. You would have figured that with all the injuries that they had, you realize that you have to build depth on the bench. And we don't have it. And the worst part is our starters suck, so that doesn't make the situation any better. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you can go with different guys because that's the best we've got apparently, and they're bad too. So it's a bad situation down here.
Matt, this is the problem on offense. It's not Matt Ryan, because, I always blame him. Not this time. And I've been saying it for the last few weeks. It's not him now. And we said this even during preseason. And after they got rid of their backup running back, I said, this is going to be a problem. Freeman is not a dependable runner. You need somebody else to help him out. He's getting paid a lot of money. He's not even averaging 100 yards. And so then your second leading rusher on your team is Matt Ryan. This week, Freeman had 19 carries for 88 yards. Ryan had 2 carries for 7 yards. Ito Smith is supposed to be your backup, right? 3 carries for 6 yards, and he's been averaging 2 yards a carry. And this is every week with Ito Smith as your backup. Matt Ryan has been the second leading rusher on your team all year long in all the games. He's been your second leading rusher. Your quarterback, Matt Ryan, who's slow. How is he your second leading rusher on the team? That's an issue. That means you're in the bottom rushing in the league. So that's a problem. Now you don't have a balanced attack, Matt. So therefore, Ryan is averaging probably about 400 yards passing. So he was 30 for 36 passing for 356
No,
yards.
it wasn't even close to being his fault. I mean,
No,
the dude's put
it
up
ain't.
unreal
and 4
numbers.
touchdowns, no interceptions, 2 sacks. So your offensive line has gaping holes in it, and your rushing needs to get a lot better. If not, you can pass for 500-600 yards and still lose every game. What's it going to do? Because Hooper has 117 yards for eight receptions for 117 yards, and Jones had 8 receptions for 108 yards, and Ridley had 4 for 48 yards. And Ridley scored, Hooper scored, so and Freeman scored 2 receiving touchdowns, but not from the rushing. So I mean, these guys are doing good on offense, but then you go to the defense. This is where the major issue is. Guys like Jarrett, 2 tackles. Guys like Vic Beasley, 1 tackle. These are former Pro Bowl players who get paid a lot of money and they're not producing. That's an issue on the defense where Dan Quinn is now the defensive coordinator. Guys are going backwards on defense every single game. They ain't improving, they're going backwards. They've improved the penalties, per game, but as far as them blitzing, having a certain amount of men in the box, tackling is an issue. So therefore, and I don't understand, they've been tackling since they were little kids, man. Well, you already said that before. So I don't understand why they're having so much problems tackling and stopping them from running or passing the ball, Matt.
Yeah, if you guys don't watch, I beg you guys next game, if you are brave enough to watch the next game, because that's going to be ugly. Watch Vic Beasley in the way he moves and in the way that he tries to get to the ball, and it is some of the most disturbing things that you'll ever see. Just to remind you, that man is making more money this year than 99.9% of American citizens will make.
Yes.
Okay, he is making $13.5 to $15 million this year.
Correct.
To do what any one of us, either me or you sitting here or anybody listening to this, can do. It's bad. Just watch him. Just watch him the whole way through on a play, and it is terrible. That is a former number 4 pick in the NFL draft. Somehow he made a Pro Bowl.
Yes, he did.
I don't know, man. I mean, just completely botching drafts in the past few years has really come back to bite us.
Where's Jarrett at?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Same
the same
thing.
I mean, the entire defense is terrible.
They just paid him a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do, man. I mean, this is the worst team we were going to play all year. Okay, now granted, they're going to have a really good future with Kyler Murray, but I mean, this is his first year. I mean, he's looked okay until the Falcons game. I mean, every quarterback we play has their coming out party for the year, and it's terrible to watch. Deshaun Watson's been inconsistent all year. He dots us up for the best game of his career. Kyler Murray has his official coming out party against us, threw for like 370 and 3 touchdowns.
Sure did.
Coming out party.
Yep.
And Goff has struggled all this year, and you best believe on Sunday he's going to take all of his anger and all of his frustration out on the Falcons defense. And it's mainly because of the same reason. I don't know why we continue to play this soft zone on defense. We just allow these underneath routes to get caught for 7 and then, yards after catch. They get like 6 or 7 because 1, we can't make tackles. 2, we can't get any pressure on the quarterback, so they're just going to hit these underneath routes and pick up 6 and 7 yards at a pop. It's so repetitive. I don't get why there's not any changes. But the problem is, with the personnel that you have and the people that you've been drafting, that's the only thing you can afford to run. Because we've tried the tight man. We've tried the press man, okay? Isaiah Oliver gets smoked. Desmond Trufant gets smoked. Our safeties don't know what they're doing. Our linebackers cannot cover anybody. Can't cover anybody out of the backfield. Can't cover the tight end. And it's one thing after another, and it's horrible to watch.
I think and I know Blanks probably won't change coaches in the middle of the season, but I think that he should, but I don't think he will, but I think he should because it's going to get worse. Next week, you mentioned they got the Rams coming up. That's going to be ugly. And then after that, they got to play Seattle. That gets ugly too. Then they got a bye week, so they get a little bit of rest, so they probably bye week 1-7, and when we did the predictions at the beginning of the year, we didn't have them 1-7. Actually, we at least had them 6 games. We had them 6-2. at best.
Yeah, I think somewhere around the 5-3, 6-2
5-3,
mark,
6-2
something
we
like
did. But they're actually going to end up finishing probably 1-7 or either 2 and.
Nah, there's no chance.
They might win one of those games.
No, there's no there's no chance. I mean, this is the best. This is the best 2 teams we've played all year. You know, the only living chances we have them at home. But who the hell is going to go to Mercedes-Benz to watch this? And it's mainly because we talked about it before, man. They're charging $150 a ticket to watch this. No, no, I'm not watching that.
Well, after the bye week, it gets worse because you go to New Orleans and play the Saints, and then after that, we got you go to Carolina and play them, and they're both playing pretty well. They're 1-2 in the division, number 1, number 2. So then after that, they got a home game the third week after the bye. They got Buccaneers at home. Okay, they might be able to beat them.
I realistically think that they'll catch somebody sleeping, and they'll pick up probably 1 to 2 more wins. I think they end up the year winning 2, maybe 3 games.
That's terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the good news. If you get the number 1 overall pick, you don't have to worry about, well, if they take this guy, we'll take this guy. Yeah, you get the first pick. You get whoever you want. Just if you blow this one, fire everybody in the front office. Everybody. Everybody's gone. The GM's already botched 3 draft classes in a row.
Yeah.
It's time to go. That's it, man. You cannot continue to botch drafts, okay? We've had decent picks, and we've had decent slots in the draft the past couple of years, and we can't do anything. I don't understand. I mean, it goes all the way back to Vic Beasley. Complete waste of a pick. And then it's just downhill from there. Takk McKinley, complete waste of a pick. You know, it seems like it's just year after year after year. It was okay this year with the 2 offensive linemen. You know, we really don't know because Lindstrom got hurt.
Yep.
Caleb McGarry's been playing okay. But, man, after that, no. No, it's bad.
It is.
And, you know, it's just like, why do we keep have to talk? Like, why do we have to keep talking about the same thing over and over? I guarantee you there's about 50% of Falcons fans out there could probably do a better job in the draft. Okay, there's a lot of people that know what they're talking about. Obviously, Dimitroff doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't know what he's looking at. The scouts have got to go, too. I don't know who said, hey, let's pick up Isaiah Oliver from Colorado, who plays absolutely nobody.
Well, that's a good one, Matt. The scouts got to go, too.
Like, goodness gracious, man.
And the whole coaching staff got to go, too, as well. Not just offensive coordinator. Everybody's got to go.
I don't get it.
I just say, and I wouldn't, you know, some people say, well, why don't they just throw in the towel right now and just forfeit the season? No, I wouldn't do that. So I got to finish it out. So, you know, but they're not going to.
Well, I mean, you can.
Some people want to.
You obviously can't.
Tank.
You obviously can't forfeit the season,
Yeah,
right?
you
I mean,
can't.
you got to play the games.
You know,
what I'm talking about.
You talk about lose on purpose. That's
throw it
what
away.
people trying to do. You know,
Throw it away.
A lot of people say, why don't they just do that so we can get a good high draft pick? No, I wouldn't do that. That's not good. Just go and play the season.
Well, it's
out,
not. Here's the reason it's not good is because we're literally wasting years, the best years of Matt Ryan's career, of Julio Jones' career, Calvin Ridley's career, on offense because we can't stop anybody.
Well, Calvin's going to be here for a while, so you know he's a lot younger than Ryan and Jones, so he's going to be here for a while. So
Yeah.
He's only his second year in the league, so he's got a lot more time left.
Yeah, I mean, here's a question that I get a lot. Is it time for because you know the Falcons really haven't had a full-blown rebuild, right? Ever since the last one we had was, you know, the year we took Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
You know, that was the last time we got rid of all the quarterback problems and stuff like that a few years after the Vic era. And we had a completely a full-blown rebuild. We took Matt Ryan in the first round, and we built from there. And Matt's been with us for, I think it's at least year 10.
I think it's 12, I believe so.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's been with us for 12 years.
This is his 12th season.
But, Ro, I mean, is it time for another rebuild?
Yeah, I say so. And then they need to start with if you are rebuilding if you getting rid of the whole entire coaching staff and you talking about you want to get rid of the scouts and also the front office also as well.
I want everybody gone.
So that is a rebuild.
I want this
Actually,
team completely gone. Just start over.
Because right now, the only thing I see that the holes that they need to, well, they got a lot of gaping holes, but the biggest issues is the running game. They don't have a good backup running back, and their defense. Her entire defense is terrible.
But I mean, if there's anybody that you're going to blow up first, it's going to be the defense. Everybody's got to be gone.
And then I'm thinking also, Matt, a little bit something telling me, well, maybe it's just the coordinator. Dan Quinn. Maybe they don't get what he's trying to do. Maybe they don't like what he's trying to do on defense. Maybe they need to bring in another defensive coordinator. And they probably going to try to do that maybe before they get rid of Dan Quinn. But I'm saying get rid of Dan Quinn and then just start all over with the coaching staff.
No, everybody's got to go. Everybody. Take everybody with them. I don't want to see any of these coaches again, and I don't want to see 99% of players on these rosters again.
Because you're going to keep Beasley, you're going to keep Jarrett because you paid them a lot of money.
Yeah.
They're going to pay them, so they're going to have to start rebuilding by the draft end.
Oh, wait. You can't because we have a GM who doesn't know what he's doing. And we have scouts that don't know what they're doing. So, I mean, you're in a real hole here because you don't have scouts who are seeing the right things, and you got a GM taking the wrong guys in the draft.
Okay.
Right? You got Dan Quinn, who's he's going to be involved in the draft as well. He's missed on that. You got to do something. That's what I'm saying. Man. Just blow it up. I mean, Falcons fans have had enough misery. It can't get any worse than what we experienced a few years ago in the Super Bowl, right? That feeling. So just do what the Hawks did.
What I'm looking at right here, maybe you're right. Let's blow it up because you look at they declined every year since the Super Bowl. And last year they didn't even make the playoffs. This year they're definitely not going to make the playoffs. So next year, what makes you think they're going to make the playoffs with this same type of team? They would have to get a lot of draft picks in order to, on offense, defense, and everything, in order for them to make the playoffs next year. So maybe you should just go and blow everything up.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well.
Might as well, because I don't see them getting back to the Super Bowl no time soon.
No. I mean, there's a lot of valuable pieces that you can move for first-round picks and second-round picks. Do it. I really don't care at this point. I guarantee you 99% of Falcons fans don't care at this point. 99% of those Falcons fans know that we're not going to make the playoffs anytime soon with this team. So you might as well just blow it up and get what you can get out of your players and just go for it. Just start over. Just try again.
Matt Ryan is 34 years old right now. So I say he got maybe 5 more years in the league. 4 or 5. He might hold up to about 39.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it depends,
38, 39.
His throwing is still there. His feet work is bad, and it's going to get worse as the years go on. He's not quick. He's not 100% not a dual threat guy.
He's still getting about 4,000 to 5,000 yards a year.
Yeah, and it's a shame that we have to waste those. We have to waste these kind of years because of the lack of defense, and that falls in the lap of the front office, who can't draft anybody.
He's going to decline if he still maintain the second leading rusher on the team.
Yeah, that's almost laughable.
He was drafted in 2008.
Yeah, so it's 11 years.
Yep, 11 years in the league. So hey, something's got to be done. Arthur Blanks has a lot to think about.
He does
for the rest of this season and off season. He has a lot to look at. It's not going to be easy. He's going to have to make some tough decisions. But as far as your offense, most of it just stay there, except for the running backs. I think Freeman, I don't know how much time he got on his contract, Freeman has, but you're going to have a backup for him. There's got some good backups out there, I know, even for right now, because you can't keep maintaining him averaging 60, 70 yards a game, and you don't have no backup except for Matt Ryan. Now, come on now. Ito Smith is not turning out to be the person that they thought he was going to be.
Right.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. So, we can keep going on and on about these Falcons, man, all year long. But they're not the only terrible team in the league, They just made Arizona look better. They got one more win than they got now, too. So, Kyler Murray looks like a superstar against them, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, at least the good news is that the one team you were worried about drafting higher than you was the Arizona Cardinals, and you gave them a win. So at least you get that going for you. You might be able to draft in front of them. But other than that,
the Jets, they won their first game against the Cowboys.
Yeah. And our only win is against the Eagles. So that was the second game of the year. After that, we've lost every single one since, which is a good time, especially with the pain that we had to endure with the Braves. You like to fall on another team to kind of pick it up for you. And last week, I'm sorry, guys. I mean, if you guys thought that, man alive.
You're going to put a scab off? You're going to go ahead and put a scab off and it was trying to heal
you got
for the summer?
So you had to watch the Braves get smoked. You watch Georgia lose at home to an unranked team in
Well,
overtime.
We're gonna get to that later on in
And
the
then
show,
you
too.
watch the Falcons lose to arguably the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, but we got some good notes too.
We do.
Some good things happening in Georgia too. You know.
So last week was, by chance, the worst weekend in Georgia sports history. Like I said in the last segment, you watched the Braves get absolutely obliterated in an elimination game. So you looked forward to Saturday. All you dog fans out there, at least. You're like, you know what? At least I can rely on good old Bulldogs to bring me home a victory against unranked South Carolina at home.
Yep.
Noon kickoff. Not really thinking about it too much, right? I was out at the Marietta Square for the Chalktoberfest, which, by the way, great time. If you guys got a chance to go out there, I'm sure you guys had fun too. There was a trailer with a couple TVs had the Georgia game on. People were kind of standing around like, South Carolina should be taken care of. I'll peek in at the TV every once in a while. Before you knew it, I looked over and the crowd just got a little bit bigger and then a little bit bigger. A lot of nail biting going on. I was like, oh, that's weird. Checked my phone. I was like, uh-oh. South Carolina's winning.
Yeah.
You know, like that tells you how much I thought about the game. I'm an LSU fan, but you know, when Georgia plays a good team, I'm definitely going to sit there and watch.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that's not good.
No, it ain't good.
And then you're like, you know what? They did it. You know, they did it in the Tennessee game. They let Notre Dame hang around. You're like, uh-oh, this is this is getting a little too close. You go into halftime, you're losing 17-10. You're like,
yeah, that first half didn't look good at all, man. I was like, what are you doing, man? You're a third-year quarterback, you know, and the coaches and everything held that position up from you, from other guys. Won't mention no names, from being a starter, so they go to another school. I thought this was your coming-out year to, you know, do your thing, get past Alabama, and win the national championship this year. But this game against an unranked school, South Carolina, I surely thought they was going to blow South Carolina out. I didn't think they was going to meet any real competition this year on the schedule until you get down to like LSU or Auburn or something like that.
well, I mean, the problem is they didn't face any competition this week. They're 100 times better in South Carolina, but when you, like, I've been talking about this week in and week out with Georgia. Okay, this is a completely unbiased opinion. Because I know a lot of you guys hear a lot of biased things about your school, and rightfully so. You know, if we were to live in Alabama as Alabama fans, we'd hear a lot of things, you know, leaning towards Alabama or biased towards Alabama.
Yeah, of course,
so here's
yeah.
a completely unbiased opinion.
Okay.
You guys have put a tag on Fromm as a game manager of a quarterback. Okay, I'll say it again because all the Georgia fans do it. They get completely complacent with their quarterback going 19 for 23 for 200 yards and a touchdown. They're like, that's my quarterback. That's my guy. That is a game manager, okay? When I see him, I think A.J. McCarron. That's the first thing that comes to my head. A.J. McCarron, Alex Smith, Kirk Cousins, just complete game managers. And you cannot, if you are already adapting into that game manager role in college, first of all, how are you going to get drafted? You know, and then how are you going to be successful? Because when there's pressure on the Georgia offense, they don't ever seem to find a way to get it done. Okay? They're just lucky that Notre Dame is atrocious on offense.
Georgia tried to play above the game manager position.
Yeah, and that's where he got bit in the ass because he doesn't know how.
28 for 51. 51 passes. Only 28 of them he completed for 295 yards. He had one touchdown, but guess what? He had three turnovers.
3 interceptions. Yep.
3 of them.
One of them wasn't his fault. I'll take
That's
that.
true.
It was a tip pass.
Right.
Wasn't his fault. But
Nope.
the other 2, yikes.
It was.
Big yikes. Hey, that's...
You
oof.
can't have turnovers and expect to win.
No, you can't. I mean, I'm telling you, man, anytime this offense faces pressure and Fromm's got to turn it up a notch, he can't. He doesn't know how. It's like he doesn't know how. And it's like the play calling definitely doesn't know how. Some of the most conservative play calls I have ever seen when a team is close in a ball game. Like when I watched the Georgia Notre Dame game. I mean, you're only up by 1 touchdown. What are you doing? Why are you playing like you're up 24-0? You're not. And it's the same play calling. You were down against South Carolina, and you guys didn't pick up the tempo. You didn't do anything. Other than the fact you let Fromm throw it a little bit more, but we saw how that turned out.
If he would have stuck to just being the game manager, Swift would have had more than 113 rushing yards, 23 carries. He was moving the ball quite well. He averaged about five yards a carry.
Now, Swift is a monster. Man, that dude's unbelievable. And you should be able to ride him home, but here's the problem when you play good teams. This is the problem that all these schools who had this same style of offense are switching to coordinators that are bringing in a completely different level and sophistication of offense, right? That's why all these schools are going to this spread them out and just air it out, up-pace tempo, right? Keep it quick because you keep the defense on their toes. These defenses can't sub guys in and out when you're rolling every 9-10 seconds a snap. You can't do it. But when you get into this single back formation and you get extremely conservative, you have problems because it's so easy to predict what you're going to do out of that formation, man. When you spread them out 5 wide, 4 wide, you don't know what's coming. You have no idea what's coming. All these RPOs into the game now, you don't know what's coming. But it's like Georgia's been the last big school, Georgia and Notre Dame, and the last 2 schools to not it's like they won't budge.
Matt, will we be sitting here talking about this if Blankenship didn't miss those 2 field goals?
No, we wouldn't. But then again,
because they would have won.
Then again, this is the best kicker that Georgia's ever had, and kickers do have bad days, guys. I mean, you can't.
I don't know about against South Carolina. He had it at the wrong time.
You
His
can't
bad games at the wrong time.
You can't place blame on a kicker who has bailed you out a million times. Just like we didn't talk about it on the Falcons, but that game does not fall on Matt Bryant. Okay, kickers miss kicks.
You mean Blankenship?
Yeah. No, I'm saying like in the Falcons game, we lost because Matt Bryant missed the extra point.
He's old.
Yeah, that's a completely different story.
They should never brought him back. And they should have never brought him back. So we're going to talk about him. They shouldn't have brought him back. They should have went out and drafted the kicker. But you said they should get rid of the scouts too because they're not seeing that.
Yeah.
So, so that's how they got in their position and their predicament they're in. But Blankenship, 1 for 3.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not when your offense is struggling. It definitely doesn't help when your kicker starts missing stuff.
You said he can't have a perfect game all the time. Yeah, that's true enough. But you missed 2.
Yeah, he did. He did miss 2.
It's your only job, man.
It is.
It's your job. It's only his job. He don't have no other job, man.
Yeah, I mean, but he's a good kicker is the problem.
He is normally, but
well, I'll shine some light on what was a pretty disappointing weekend. Good news is, guys, is that one, this loss wasn't to Florida. There's a reason. I was talking with some people beforehand with Georgia fans. If you would have lost against Georgia, your season, or if you would have lost against Florida, your season's over. Here's why: because that's the only competition that you have left in the SEC East. You can still run the table and get to the SEC championship and win, and you'll be in the playoff. Okay, but if that's what I'm saying.
Say that again, because I say that again for our listeners because they believe. I was talking in the barbershop. They believe because if they lose to South Carolina, they have no chance and no opportunity to make it to the playoffs.
No, absolutely not.
And I disagree with them, and I believe they still do.
Yes, they do. If they run
Look
the
at
table,
their schedules.
if they run the table,
yes,
they are the SEC East champions.
That's right.
They win the SEC championship.
Yes.
They are in the playoff.
Correct.
You could literally put everything I own, including my heart, onto that bet. If they run the table, they are not getting left out of the playoff.
No.
The playoff committee has shown time in and time out they will take a one-loss SEC championship.
One loss, they sure will.
Over anybody else.
Yep, even if some of them schools got 0 losses because it depends on, look at the strength of their schedule, and they did not drop out of the top 10. A lot of people believed that they were going to drop out of the top 10. I said they wouldn't, even if they lost to South Carolina. They wouldn't drop out the top 10, and they didn't drop out the top 10. They're still 5-1, and there's a lot of 5-1 schools, and there are a lot of schools that are 6-0 right now, won't be 6-0 at the end of the year.
Right.
Guarantee you that. That's a fact.
No, I mean, it's not possible. First of all, the number 1 team plays the number 2 team in the country here in about 3 weeks.
Somebody's got to lose.
Yeah, everybody's going to start losing. Ohio State and Wisconsin,
yes.
Somebody's got to lose. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's all going to pan out, so Georgia's going to be back up there in the mix of things.
Absolutely.
So there is reason to panic now because you
have no room for error.
You cannot afford to lose another game.
No more games.
But then again, if you lost to Florida this year anyways, your season was done because that meant that they're probably not getting in the SEC East, or they're not getting the SEC championship. So you cannot afford to lose another game, Georgia. And I personally think, I don't know, I said that they were going to go undefeated. Obviously, nobody saw them losing to South Carolina. Though if they play the way they did against South Carolina, they're going to lose to Florida by a lot because Florida looked pretty impressive. Okay, other than the fact that they...
You know I don't like Florida.
No, I know. I don't like Florida either.
Man, these guys, why do they keep doing this, man? Hey, man, they're not even that good.
No, they're not.
They're okay.
They're okay. They played a lot. They played way better than I expected them to.
Me too.
Their quarterback looked good. Kyle Trask looked good.
Okay, yeah, he's okay. I know you got a lot of Florida fans out here. Okay, they're okay. But I like Franks, and I gave him the benefit of the doubt when you have Franks. You know, when they was started out the rankings at number 8, and start the season ranked number 8, Matt. But with Franks, but then he got hurt. I was like, oh, well, they're gonna definitely drop out the top 10. I said they might even drop out the top 20. But you hear they are still hovering around at number 8.
Yeah, well, that's because their only loss is now to the number 2 team in the country, and they played them for the first half. The game was tied at the first half. Actually, Florida had the lead at some point.
Yeah.
So they looked good at times. And then there was times that they definitely struggled. First of all, their defense is not. I wouldn't say they're not good. They're not good because they are good. Just LSU's offense is really good. LSU's offense is explosive.
And we saw that in the second half.
And so Florida kind of got exposed.
Yeah.
The problem is, as Georgia fans, I'm not even saying this because I'm an LSU fan. Your offense isn't close to what LSU's is right now. And so if you can't move the ball like that against Florida and Florida's defense shows up that day, you're in trouble because you've got to be able to score points against Florida. Florida just showed that they can play. They have a decent offense. Okay, they scored 28 points. Granted, LSU's defense was terrible the first half. Okay, but they still scored 28 points, which means that they have the capability of putting up some pretty good numbers against a young Georgia defense.
I think it's human nature. I don't think Fromm and then the rest of the guys, they really played up their full potential against South Carolina. They probably just thought that was going to be a laid-back game against South Carolina. But I don't think they're going to be the same way against when they play Florida in 2 weeks.
No, they shouldn't be. It's their biggest rival.
And they're not going to be no shock to them or nothing. They're not going to play a laid-back game. They're going to come up with their A game, and they're going to play a lot better.
Right, but here's what's concerning for Georgia compared to – because everybody has that game. Right? Everybody in their season at some point has that game. Clemson had it against North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
And Clemson was a 2-point conversion away from losing that game to North Carolina.
They should have kicked a field goal.
But here's the thing that separates elite teams from good teams. They find a way to win. And Georgia did not find a way to win. You get yourself in a hole in these trap games, as they call them, and you get yourself out of it and find a way to win. And Georgia just looked like they just looked lost.
Well, they had plenty of opportunities in the first overtime to win, and even in the second overtime, they had time to win because in the first overtime, from to an interception. I said, "Oh man!"
Well, I mean, that was the worst thing. So I mean,
"Oh man,
what
is he doing, man?"
I'm not pouring salt in the wound for Georgia fans, but man, the game should have been over in the first overtime.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I mean, South Carolina missed a 33-yard field goal. The game would have been over there. So guess what? They gave you another chance, and
he missed another one too.
You still missed up.
Yeah, he missed the one that put him in overtime because South Carolina should have won in regulation. They should have won the game.
Oh yeah, but that was like a 53-yarder.
Well, yeah, I understand that. Definitely.
No, I mean
they couldn't get to the.
We all knew there was no chance in hell that ball was going in.
Yeah, but the thing about it, they kept getting penalized, kept pushing them back to that. You see what I'm saying? If they wouldn't get penalized, they would have been in field goal range, proper one.
Georgia had multiple chances. They had screw up after screw up from South Carolina.
Yeah.
And nothing. You still lost the game. And that just says right there that South Carolina came out to the game and they wanted it more.
But I do see what you're saying against Florida because I watched Florida against LSU and it looked like they was putting up points pretty easily. And they was hanging with LSU for a long time. And it looks like they could put points up quick. So if they put the same amount of points up against Georgia's defense compared to LSU's defense, you saying they can get out of hand and Florida can slip away with another victory.
Right, because now, I mean, Florida's got to walk away from the LSU game with a tiny bit of confidence that they were able to hang in there because a lot of people had them getting blown out, right?
Yeah, I did.
A lot of people had them getting blown out, and for them to have the lead in the second half of the game at one point, it's got to feel pretty good. You lost the game, so you are hanging your head about it. But you can walk away with some positives from that game.
Yeah, you can.
And so, you're walking in with confidence. I do think that Florida's only going to lose one more game, And I still think Georgia's going to find a way to get it done against Florida. But, I mean, Florida with a two-loss season is not something to hang your head about as Florida fans, especially when your starting quarterback goes down, at the very beginning of the season. That's all I'm saying. So just watch out, Georgia, because you cannot – I already said it, you cannot afford to lose. You cannot afford to lose to Florida. And this Florida team is capable of doing some damage. And, you don't have any more room for error. So you got to figure it out, and you got to figure it out quick.
Yeah, I'm glancing at the Florida schedule. You're right. Florida really, UGA is about it. I mean, because the rest of the schedule, they don't play no ranked teams except for Missouri. And Florida State ain't going to be no problem for them at the last game of the season for Florida. They ain't going to have too much problem with them. So, I thought that, Florida was going to lose by 5-6 games this year. But so far, they only lost 2. So, and maybe if they lose to Georgia,
no, they've only lost 1.
1? Oh, okay.
Yeah. They've only lost 1.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, It's still good. I mean, they also control their own destiny.
Yeah,
that's the thing with Florida. Both of these teams, when they meet up in Jacksonville, they control their own destiny. Winner of that game, 99% positive that they'll make it to that SEC championship.
Yeah, that game's playing in Florida too, by the way, Georgia and Florida.
Well, it's in Jacksonville.
Correct.
Yeah, neutral.
Still in Florida.
Neutral site, but it is still in Florida. Yeah, they've always talked about moving that game to like a home-and-home type thing, as I think they should. But, it's one of the great traditions of football, so we'll let them ride it out. And a lot of people have a really good time down there in Jacksonville. So, Hey, brings money. Both sides are happy. Go for it. Let's talk a little bit about some other stuff. The Texas-Oklahoma game was okay.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts played really well.
Oh,
and I thought Texas played really well.
Ooh, you see Lamb?
It's a good game. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb's.
Ooh, CeeDee Lamb played well. I like that.
Yeah,
that
I
boy
do too.
that boy is good.
He looks good.
He does. And Jalen, boy, really he's putting it where he wants. Man, you see his moves?
Oh, yeah. Did you see the behind the back thing?
Oh, I loved it,
Yeah,
man. I said, this
insane.
dude is really good, man.
So, I mean,
Oklahoma, and it's going to be hard for them to move. I'm looking at their schedule. I mean, I'm looking at their the AP polls right now. It's going to be really hard for them to move up into that 4th spot as long as Ohio State continues to win.
right.
It's going to be hard to break through this in Alabama. If Alabama continues to win out the rest of their games, and all of them got 6 games left to go, so they all 6-0. The top 7 teams are 6-0. Because you got Alabama at number 1 at 6-0. You got LSU number 2 at 6-0. Clemson is 6-0 at number 3, and Ohio State 6-0 at number 4. And you got Oklahoma 6-0 at number 5, and Wisconsin.
I don't like this last one. Go ahead and say it. Wisconsin?
Wisconsin 6-0.
Man.
And then Penn State, I don't
It's
like
the same-
that either, 6-0 at number
It's
7.
the same thing with one of these Big Ten teams every year. Man, they've got an elite defense. Wisconsin has an outstanding defense this year. I think they've scored more points in their offense.
Well,
Obviously, I'm
2 in a
joking,
row
but
'cause
they
you got
kind of look
Penn-
like it.
You got Penn State at 6-0 too, and then
But Wisconsin, man, they do not have the firepower to hang with any of these other schools.
Okay,
on the offensive side of the ball.
okay, they won't. They're going to lose because they're going to play end of the month to play Ohio State. Okay, and I don't think they're going to beat Ohio State.
No, I'm telling you, once they run into a school, they haven't ran into a school yet with any type of offensive firepower.
Nope.
And when your defense is good and you don't run into anybody that can put points on the board, it's obviously gonna go in your favor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So this Wisconsin thing, I think, is gonna blow over. They do have a really good team, but it's not gonna last, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, and then you got Notre Dame, which I don't like them either.
No, nobody likes them.
I don't like them as much as I don't like Florida.
It's so annoying to see them just creeping their way back in.
But they're an independent team, and they seem to find a way to ease up on there at number 8. They was at number 10 and ease back to number 8. So Wisconsin loses, then they can ease on up even further.
Yeah.
I don't like it either, man. But Auburn is on the list for at number 11, so they're outside the 10.
Yeah, Auburn,
5-1.
but I mean also Auburn controls their own destiny as far as the SEC West. Because they have yet to play LSU and they've yet to play Alabama, which are the 2 teams in front of them. So they take care of business against both those teams. They'll find themselves in the SEC championship game. So the season's far from over.
Yeah, they did that 2 years ago. Remember, they beat
Yeah.
Georgia and Alabama both.
Yep.
And
So it'll happen.
they still didn't make the playoffs.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
And they still didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. The 4-team playoff teams need to go to about 8 to 16 teams for playoffs.
Yeah. It's like a broken record, really, week in and week out, but it does need to.
I'm going to keep on talking about it.
College football playoff poll, before we move on to another section, college football playoff poll comes out the week before the LSU Alabama game, so that's the first weekend in November.
Yep.
So we've got 2 more weeks of the AP, and then they do their little ESPN thing on Tuesday nights where they reveal the college football playoff poll, which will be interesting.
Yeah,
Because it looks like the way things are going, barring any slip-ups, we'll have another 1 versus 2 matchup in Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
Which will be should be quite interesting. And I'll actually be at that game. So.
Oh, you gonna be in Tuscaloosa?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a good time.
Be fun. But yeah, keep an eye on AP poll because that's like I told you, point systems. That's what matters. Follow your team on there, and hopefully your team gets in. So if not, then you need to write in your letters and tell them to committee to
Or just start lobbying or something.
lobbying for the committee to go outside of the 4 teams.
It seems to
to
work these days, right? Just everybody seems to be protesting something
Yeah, we
nowadays.
just protested, man, and tell them they need to move from 4 teams to 8,
We just need to get a picket line going right in front of the college football playoff facility.
so your team can get in.
Yeah, it's about the best option I can come up with. So the NBA is right around the corner. We got let's see, the Hawks' first game is October 24th. The NBA season officially kicks off October 22nd. So we're really only like
I can't wait. I'm ready. I love basketball.
So today is Tuesday, so we're actually just 2 weeks away. Just 14 days away.
I love me
right?
some NBA. Yep.
Oh, that math's not right. I can't even count anymore.
What's that?
Oh, we're 7 days away. Sorry,
Let's
guys.
see, the 20.
I'm a science major. I'm not a.
Yep,
not a
Tuesday the
mathematician.
22nd is the first game of the season. Pelicans and Raptors and Lakers and Clippers. That's on the 22nd. Well, that's Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a week from today.
Yeah, that's
It's a
Tuesday.
good time. And then the Hawks will play Thursday.
They play
Thursday
on the
night
24th.
against Detroit.
Yep, Detroit Pistons. Yep, 7 o'clock p.m.
So we'll talk about the Hawks here for a little bit. First things first, last night was ugly. Very lopsided.
Not good.
Put up a lot of points. And that's kind of the thing that we've been talking about. The defense is going to be shaky. We said it in the last show. We think that the defense will be shaky here for the first maybe like
20,
a quarter, maybe like a
20
quarter
games,
of the season.
20, 25 games.
Yeah,
maybe.
about a quarter of a season.
Yeah, but the Hawks, they gave up 120 last night to the Heat. The score was 120 to 87 against the Heat. But last year, like I told you, they able to put up a lot of points with this offense. But you got to give them a break because this is preseason for one, and number two, you have a lot of rookies and a lot of guys trying to make the roster.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
it's just, like I said, guys, it's the same thing as like preseason football, man. Just take it for what it's worth, which is nothing.
It's fun to watch, but a lot of guys,
There are a
not
lot of
gelling.
guys who aren't going to make the team.
That's right.
Or are not that good that are going to be out there playing a lot of minutes because they want to make the team.
Yeah.
So you just, I guess if anything, just watch when the starters are out there and see what they do.
Yeah.
Because that's about all you can do.
That's right.
But man, I'm excited. I haven't been this excited in a while. And it feels good. It's like this warm, tingly feeling, and I haven't felt that since the Braves a couple weeks ago when they made the playoffs. So it's
For everybody listening out here,
I'm ready.
I told Matt we're going to do our predictions next week.
Yes,
so
don't miss
I
it.
told Matt to get his predictions ready. We're going to do an Eastern Conference versus Western Conference. We're going to do a playoff predictions. Who are our top 8 teams going to be from the Eastern Conference? Who are our top 8 teams going to be from the Western Conference? We're going to give you our predictions. These are our own opinions. You think, everybody else, y'all can have your own opinions also well, but these are going to be our opinions, and we're going to periodically throughout the year, we're going to see where we stand at.
Yeah, we'll have a little
And
friendly wager.
And we can't. Yeah, we can do that, but we can't predict injuries and stuff like that, of course, because that also is going to factor into our predictions. So it should. So injury is part of the game. So we're gonna do that next week, Mike. Right?
Yeah, the predictions. Yeah, we're gonna hammer that out next week. We'll be doing the show on Monday night, and that's when the first game. Oh, not the first game. First game's on Tuesday. I still can't even talk.
Yeah, it's the day after.
But yeah, so when the show comes out next week, we'll have the predictions before the show,
Yeah,
or
'cause
before the first game. So that'd be pretty cool.
I like what Cam Reddish has got. I want to watch him. I want to watch Parker. I want to watch Trey Young. They had a nice game last night. I like Hunter.
I like them all, man.
These names is going to be household names pretty soon. Even Vince Carter, still with his 42 self, he still had 10 points last night in 18 minutes, so he's still going to be good. He's a good coach out there on the floor, and a good coach on the bench also as well is for the players. So.
If I was to pick one jersey that I need to get to wear to Hawks games. Which
Cool.
player should I get?
Hey, man.
What do you think?
Cam Reddish.
I should get a Reddish jersey?
Reddish or Young?
All right, you heard it here first. I will go home tonight, and I will be purchasing a Cam Reddish jersey.
Cam Reddish. Because this boy's got a lot of potential. I think he's going to be good.
Yeah, he is. I mean,
Yeah, he is.
Said it last show. I think he was the best player. I think he was the best player at Duke. I mean, you could say Zion. He's obviously has the most athleticism, most raw talent. But I think Cam Reddish was the best polished player. It was just hard to watch him because literally the entire time a Duke game was on TV, it was literally just zoomed in on Zion's face.
And look, just for one thing, what you're saying is all around, right?
Yeah,
Because we're talking about all around offense, defense, the
Yeah.
whole entire mixture. We're not just talking about
Complete player.
We're talking about complete.
Yeah.
Right. So we're not just talking about power, strength.
Yeah, yeah, because
and,
we all know
and
Zion-
dunking,
Zion was
and
the-
dunking,
Zion
and
was the
open
face
court
of the team
player
last year.
Yeah, and he was open court player. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
he wasn't my favorite player on the team, but he was good. My favorite
was-
player on the team went to New York. So hey, he went to a sad team. You probably won't hear about him no more for a long time. But hey, hey. So we'll see. But Cam, I believe, is the most complete player, and I believe he probably was the most complete player on that team with Duke. And a lot of people seem to forget that he was what was it? He would come out of high school. He was third in the country.
Third in the country. Yep.
So yeah, he's a 5-star player. So a lot of people forget that. They went to Duke. People forgot about it.
Yeah.
So nobody talking about him.
Yeah.
For steals, assists, his defense, scoring, mid-range jumper, 3-point shooting, he's good. From all those points, open court, he can do it all. He took a back seat to two other guys in Duke, so he had to. So, but I think you're going to see him come to the forefront with the Hawks. And, playing alongside Young is going to help him a lot too as well. So I think it's going to be good. And I like Hunter too as well. So I'm excited about the Hawks here. I'm also excited about a few other teams too as well. I want to see play as well. I want to see what the Lakers are going to do out west. I want to see what the Clippers are going to do out west. I'm looking at the Detroit Pistons. I like the team they got because I like Rose as a pickup for Detroit. I like Milwaukee squad. A couple players on Toronto think they're going to get back to the finals, but I don't think so. I like Philadelphia, even though they lost a couple players, but I think they're still going to be good too as well. So it's a few teams, that I'm going to be talking about next week in my prediction in 8. I still think the East is still growing, and I think the East is still good. And it's gotten better than it was a few years ago. But the West Coast is going to be the stickler because out in the West, Matt, I'm telling you, it's got like 10, 11 teams that can make the playoffs. So that's going to be a little bit harder.
That should be fun trying to do the predictions.
So you're looking at them and
one of
predictions.
us is bound to get it dead wrong.
Yeah, we're about to because even the Spurs are still good, and they picked up some good players. And I'm gonna go through my prediction. When I go through my predictions, so that's gonna be a long segment next week. I'm gonna go through the players who I believe on each team is gonna make an impact.
Yeah. So Hawks play tomorrow night against the New York Knicks, and that game is on ESPN. If you guys are interested, it's at 8 o'clock.
I want to see that tomorrow.
And then, like we said, they'll play the Bulls on Thursday. And then they'll a week from then they'll be hopping on plane and heading to Detroit to play the Pistons. And then their first home game is that following Saturday against the Orlando Magic.
First home game against the Magic.
Yeah, Saturday night.
I think they should win that, but the Detroit game's going to be a hard game because Detroit got a lot of good pickups.
Yeah, they did. And then they got a big one that following Monday. They'll play the 76ers at home, which would be pretty cool.
That's going to be a hard matchup, too, because the Sixers got better, too, as well.
So if you guys want to head out for the home opener, that will be that Saturday after the Detroit game against Orlando. I will be out of town. Otherwise, I'd try to get to that game. But there's a couple more home games right after that. That'll be decent. I know we play the Heat on Halloween night.
I like that,
which would be pretty cool. Might be able to sneak out and check that game out. That's on Thursday night. So other than that, man, we're looking forward to it. Well, next week we'll talk about these last few preseason games and get us prepared for Game 1 against Detroit.
Okay.
So there's been a lot of buzz recently, especially in the past week. Hillgrove played McEachern in an outstanding football game. McEachern came on top. I think the score was 19-14.
Yep, that's correct.
And a lot of the buzz is due to the officiating. We saw how the game ended.
Yeah, Matt, I was there. The guy for the quarterback for Hillgrove, I forgot his name.
McCravey.
McCravey. It was a few seconds left on the clock. He ran all the way in. He was on the outside. He was on the right side, running to about the 2-3 yard line. He dove and hit the pylon. That should have been a touchdown.
Should have been a touchdown. That would have been the game.
He hit the pylon, but I don't know what happened with the officiating. I know, and I sat on the Hillgrove side, actually, and they was going berserk. I thought they was going to beat the refs up. They were all getting onto the field. I thought they was going to throw things.
Well, I
It
mean,
was heated.
look, this is
Okay.
This small town right here, man. This is as heated as a rivalry as it gets.
was.
And to see Hillgrove lose on something like that, it hurts because it was a touchdown. There's like 35 angles that I've seen on each of the videos. He never stepped out of bounds, and that ball hit the pylon. Not once. He didn't step out once. But you can, I mean,
McKeachin was at home.
yeah, McEachern was at home, and look, man, I mean, we said that this was going to be a low-scoring game.
Like I told you it would be.
Good defenses. So, I mean, look, you can't say it all rides on one touchdown, but when you see an angle like that and see that the guy clearly got in, it breaks your heart because, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, these are just kids playing playing the game that they love, and to see something like that kind of swing the game in the wrong direction, it sucks. And I definitely feel for the kid, and they'll be able to bounce back. It is just one
they
loss,
will.
and they'll have a good, they'll have another game against Marietta, which is another key matchup. And who knows, this thing could end up in a 3-way tie.
I told you it was going to come down to 3 teams. I did not tell you. In that 7A class, in that Region 3, I said it was going to come down to 3-team race. Marietta, Hillgrove, and McEachern. And that's what it's looking like. It's turned out to be a 3-team race, like I mentioned, because I cover these guys. So I figured it would be, even though the last 2 years Hillgrove has won that conference the last 3 years in a row. I figured that this year is going to be a little bit tougher because McEachern has a new head coach in Stevenson, and I knew some of the players were returning on that offense for McEachern, and now they're gelled together. And they have a more balanced attack, offensively, defensively, and with special teams. And I knew that Hillgrove, the reason why a lot of reporters have dropped them in the rankings so low, down to 9 and 10 in the state, is because they lost a lot of offensive players. But their defense is, even against McEachern, their defense is still on point. And one guy, man, stands above everybody else on that roster.
Yeah, he does. I mean,
Number 98.
He's a big boy. He's a force to be reckoned with, and I truly believe that this team will be able to bounce back. I have predicting them to beat Marietta actually in that game. I'm going to take Hillgrove over that one. That's going to be a bounce back game, a little bit of vengeance for the way that the game ended against McEachern. I think they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. I think they're going to be a little pissed off, and I have them winning all the way through. And I really
You said Hillgrove over Marietta?
yes,
That game's played, November 1st?
yes.
Okay. And McEachern has Marietta this week at
Yes.
Marietta, right?
So that's the game of the week, guys.
That's the game of the week this week.
Marietta McEachern should be
Yeah.
an outstanding matchup.
So who you got that game?
I have Marietta.
You got McEachern losing their first game?
Yep. I got a 3-way tie.
So that means they give McEachern a loss, Hillgrove a loss, and so our Marietta already got one loss. So to give them,
Yeah, but it's only one loss within the region, so technically there would
But
be a
so
3-way
if you're
tie.
telling me if Hillgrove is going to beat on November 1st, they're going to beat Marietta, that would give Marietta 2 losses,
Right.
and they won't play in that conference championship game. And that's they'd probably be Hillgrove against McEachern again.
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
Well, they don't have a conference championship game. It's just kind of
I'm talking about the
Yeah,
regional.
yeah.
Their own little Region 3
Yeah,
championship. That's what I'm talking about. The Region 3 championship game. That will be played, I think, after November the 1st. I don't know what date that is on that yet, but it ain't came out yet. But there will be a date for that game. So you're telling me that they're determining who they're going to win that Region 3 is going to come down to, from what you're telling me, it's going to come down to McEachern and Hillgrove again
Yes.
in a rematch.
Yes.
And so you telling me in a rematch, even though they should have won this game this week, you're saying that Hillgrove's going to win the rematch also as well, right?
No, well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they'll beat Marietta.
I'm trying to put
No,
you
we
on
haven't
the
got
spot.
that far.
Hey,
No, we
so
haven't got that
okay, they gonna win the rematch. Hey, but McEachern, I don't know. something in my gut tells me that McEachin is this year going to win that Region 3.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're a good team.
The championship.
So
They're going to win
doubt
that.
it.
Hillgrove has won it 2 years in a row. Something about Marietta, man. I don't know what it is. These individual players on Marietta, they're very good. They're very good individually. But collectively as a team, as a unit, I don't know what it is, man. They just can't bring it all together to bring a powerhouse team.
Yeah.
They haven't.
Yeah,
I don't know what it
like
is.
They're not able to
It's like
completely get it together.
it's like they're looking at their own individual stats after the game. Oh well, I got my yards and then I got my commitment. So I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, I see a little bit of that, definitely.
But then you have to go back also is what I talked about, all through our shows and stuff, a winning culture. Marietta does not have a winning culture at that school. You look at their record over the last 3-4 years. We talked about it. It's not good. Hillgrove and McEachin have winning cultures at their school. And they've been 1-2 for many years, been back and forth. So you look at when they played each other last week, the record against each other is 5-4.
Yeah.
5-4 Hillgrove. So that's been a competitive thing. And this year, I kind of we threw in Marietta because Marietta started off the year ranked number 1 in Georgia and like number 8 or 9 nationally because of individual types, because of the 9 players placed in the top 100 for 24/7 sports. So, I figure, oh, man, they put all that talent together. These guys going to top colleges and stuff like that. All they got to do is gel. Their coach can help put that together. They're going to win it all. Man, it don't always work out like that.
Never does. Never does. It's a team sport, man.
Yeah, it does. But you got 11 men on both sides of the ball. So, they haven't been able to put together. So, to me, right now, the best of all those 3, I'm still going to say McEachin. I watched even last week. Hillgrove's defense played outstanding ball.
Yeah, they did.
Offensively, they was sluggish from time to time offensively. They really couldn't get down to going. A solid run game wasn't there that great. It was okay. The passing game was just okay. McEachin started off the first half sluggish, okay? I admit they started off sluggish. Offensively, they started so, but their defense was still on point. But offensively, in that second half, Carlos, hey, man, boy, you was doing it. He took over in that fourth quarter himself. Almost all the yards was his in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I don't remember how many yards he had, but he was doing his thing. He was moving. Carlos Del Rio,
yeah.
Man, he was moving that ball, man. The boy is good. I think he's committed to, what school is he committed to? They said it too. I think he's committed to, I want to say Clemson too. Is he committed to Clemson? I'm not sure. I have to look it up, and I'll let y'all know next week. But he's committed to a top school as well already. So, hey, if y'all here in the area in Cobb County, y'all need to really, really go to these last few games. I told y'all we in the meat and potato part of the schedule down. Here it is October. So please go to these games. That game on Friday night was packed. A lot of people had to park down the street. That's how packed it was. But I got there early, so, I didn't have to worry about all that. I got me a good parking spot. So, and it was packed. I know it was close to about 2,000-3,000 people there in the stands. It was packed on both sides. Even the visitor side was packed with Hillgrove fans. So
yeah, I
think it was a really outstanding game.
Good to see.
It was a close game, like I said it was. My prediction, I believe, from last week, I said it was going to be 20-17. It ended up 14-19.
Yeah.
Even though because the McEachin went for a 2-point conversion and missed it, so
yeah.
they would have had 20 points if they didn't go for. If they would went just for the field goal, they would have had the 20 points. And then. Hillgrove missed the field goal too as well.
Yeah.
So it would have turned out to been 20-17. So my prediction would have been correct, right on point. But they fell short. But I know a lot of people will say Hillgrove won that at the end, but
can't do anything about it now. And you can't.
Not on top of that.
As Hillgrove players, you can't go back and sulk on that moment. You got to move on. There's still a lot to play for. You're obviously going to make the playoffs.
You will.
Just
you'll be there.
Move on. It happens. Okay, it sucks. There's no instant replay, anything like that. But
that's part of the rivalry too. There.
Yep.
So you do, but it was a great game though. They played well.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we head out of here, I got some very good news for Braves fans. Washington Nationals are up 7-0 right now, so they will complete the sweep the 4-game sweep against the Cardinals. The Cardinals will go home, as we all wish they would. At least if you're a true Braves fan and you still have that terrible taste in your mouth, it's nice to see the
You
Cardinals
think that was
get there.
good news?
I do. I wanted the Nationals to kill them at this point. I really didn't even care at this
They're
point.
in our division.
No, I don't even care. We took care of business of them. We'll take care of business.
So they're gonna be
again next
riding.
year.
They're gonna be riding high next year too. And we won the division 2 years in a row, Matt.
No, we'll smoke them again next year.
So
Don't
now-
have to worry about it. Just let them. I just wanted them to beat the Nationals. I hope they get killed in the World Series, but I just wanted to see them beat the Cardinals because I hate the Cardinals now.
Well, I don't think the Cardinals should have been there anyway in the first place, and neither should the Nationals have been there either. But they both made it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm shocked that the Nationals are doing what they're doing, because see, during the regular season, the Braves did pretty well against them all year long.
Yep. It sure did.
Yep.
And that's what you have to hang your season on, I guess. But all right, guys. Till next week. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us.
We out.
We'll be back next week. Be sure to catch the show here in the next couple of days. We'll be on Apple Music, on Messy, on Spotify once we get all that figured out. So until then, guys, hold it down, and we'll catch y'all next week.
Bye bye.